was the most wonderful childhood. Most wonderful childhood, growing up in the forest. Went to the local primary school, which were then known as Maori schools. And we'd walk to school, over a mile to school. And there were over 100 of us children. And we had Maori teachers as well as European. So I grew up in both worlds, my Maori world and the European world. Born at the hospital here in Rotorua, 20 past 1 in the morning on the 17th of May, never mind the year, but I'm over 70. And I had one brother, I've got one brother. We had a most wonderful, loving mother. Lost our dad when I was 3. She remarried when I was about 7. But we had a most wonderful childhood in the Uruwera. We grew up very close to nature, with the forest surrounded us. And round about Easter time in the fall, the deer would come down into the paddock where Mum would grow the potatoes. The deer would come down, there were here running around, birds everywhere. And we never had video games, which was absolutely a blessing when I look at it now. We'd go out and pick wild raspberries, wild strawberries, go up the streams and pick watercress and catch fish with our hands by damming the creek. It was a real explorer's world, but it was lovely. We learned to eat natural plants that were growing, like a briar bush rose, and its new growth, we'd pluck it. We knew which ones to go for. We'd eat the berries of the tree because we were told if the bird can eat it, so can you. If the bird doesn't eat it, don't touch it. You know. We played a lot. We swam a lot. And we had bush creeks, very, very cold streams. But there was, and it's still the precious water as far as I'm concerned, not contaminated in any way. We climb high hills just to look out over the panoramic view we could get from them, bigger than the hills around here. And we'd pick a silver fern or a plant like flax, but it has a sort of fluffy tail, and we'd be up there on the hills and we'd wave them. And Mum and them knew exactly where we were. They knew where to look for us. We'd wave them to let them know where we were, because you could see them. And in our school days, what was now called Form 1 and 2, I don't know what it is in years, so many years at school, every Fridays the girls would be taught to preserve fruit, because fruit grew all around us. You bottled fruit, there's no such thing as the canned fruit. You bottled it because it was there. We were only 12, 13-year-olds learning to make jam because we saw Mum and them do it, but it was part of our curriculum at school. And every second Friday, we'd do sewing. We'd make bibs for babies, pig bags for Mum, and then we had to learn to make a skirt for ourselves, the girls. 12, 13-year-olds. It was called homecraft, because no one really had fridges. There was no electricity when I was growing up. There's no electricity whatsoever. And the other thing, we had a lovely European headmaster. And Friday afternoons, because we do the cooking and things in the morning, Friday afternoons was our Maori culture. He said, you mustn't lose it. You must keep it going. You must learn the stories of your people. So I grew up in both worlds, and I'm grateful we had a teacher like that in those days. I'm talking about the 40s, 50s. Then I went on to boarding school. Mum sent me to boarding school in the Hawke's Bay. I went to Hatohohepa, which is St. Joseph's. My brother was sent to Auckland, to Hatopete on the other side of Northcote. My cousins, 2 were sent to Tulakina Maori Girls' School, which is down the Taranaki way, Another one was sent to Queen Victoria, another one took. We were separated in our secondary education because we led such a sheltered life. If anyone looked at us, we'd shy away. We were sent to break out of that shyness and prepare us for the open world. And it was wonderful boarding school. I went to for 4 years. I took up commercial practice, which is shorthand, typing, and bookwork, accountancy, that sort of thing. Besides, the home crafts even flowed there because it was boarding school. And we also learned to do military marching, which is good for deportment. I walk a lot even today because it's still there. And plus, walking to school as a child. You miss so much when you're driving. Don't get me wrong, I catch the bus too, and I go with the kids. But when I feel up to it, I'll walk. And that's why I look at people's gardens and talk to people I've never seen before, and just socialise with someone.